In 1972 at Stanford University, Professor Walter Mischel and his colleagues conducted a simple experiment that would later echo around the world: the marshmallow experiment. They placed a piece of candy in front of children and gave them two choices: eat it immediately or wait 15 minutes to receive double the reward. Years of follow-up revealed a striking pattern. Those who managed to control themselves and delay gratification often grew up to be more successful, happier, emotionally balanced, and healthier than the rest. This is clear proof. Self-discipline doesn't just determine success, it shapes the quality of your entire life. But let's be honest, if you only rely on inspiration, if you let your mood dictate your actions, you will fail again and again. Motivation only shows up when everything is easy. Discipline is what stays with you on your toughest days. It's the choice you have to make, especially when every excuse tells you to quit. When your warm bed calls your name. When procrastination whispers, "Just a little longer." If you can force yourself to be disciplined, you can change everything. And right now, I'll show you 9 practical strategies, real tools to help you master yourself, so you don't just succeed, but live more deeply, freely, and happily. Chapter 1. Condition your mind to act without waiting for motivation. You wake up. The alarm rings. You want 5 more minutes. Your mind whispers, "Wait, rest a little more. You'll feel motivated soon." But motivation is a liar. It's the friend who never shows up when you need them most. Here's the truth. Motivation is just a feeling, as fleeting and unpredictable as the weather. If you depend on it, you become its prisoner. You wait for the right moment, but that moment rarely arrives. Days pass, weeks pass. You wonder why nothing changes. You blame your laziness, your lack of inspiration, your mood. The reality? The difference between those who succeed and those who only dream is simple. Successful people act, especially when they don't feel like it. The Stoics knew this thousands of years ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He wasn't talking about waiting for perfect circumstances or the right mood. He meant this: you act, regardless of how you feel. The mind resists discomfort, resists effort. But the more you give in, the weaker your will becomes. Every time you push yourself to act without waiting, without bargaining, without hesitation, you train your mind to obey you, not your feelings. A college student named Sarah. She wants to write a novel, but every evening, tired after work, she tells herself she'll start when she feels inspired. Months go by. Nothing gets written. One day, Sarah decides to try something different. She sets a rule: write 200 words every day, no matter what. No negotiation, no excuses. At first, it feels forced. Her brain fights back, but she sits at her desk anyway. Some days, her words are awkward, but some days, a spark of energy comes after she starts. Over weeks, writing becomes her routine. The battle against inertia grows weaker. Writing, at first an act of discipline, slowly becomes her identity. This is the essence of Stoic discipline, removing choice from the equation. The more you hesitate, the more time your brain has to invent excuses. Action closes the gap between intention and reality. Discipline is the structure you build so that emotion can no longer sabotage progress. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Pick one action, attach it to your daily schedule, make it non-negotiable. Maybe it's a 10 minutes walk every morning or 10 pages of reading at night. When you wake up, act. Don't think, move. Count down from 3 and go. The shorter the space between decision and action, the less room there is for self-doubt and resistance to creep in. Over time, action creates energy. It's not motivation that brings you to the gym or the desk. It's the decision to move first, and the feeling of accomplishment comes later as a reward. You build self-trust, one repetition at a time. You start to see yourself as the kind of person who acts, who follows through, who doesn't wait for the world or their feelings to give permission. Motivation is unreliable, you remind yourself. Discipline is the path that changes everything. The more you condition your mind to act on principle, not impulse, the more power you take back from the chaos of your moods. Your habits become your foundation. Your discipline becomes your freedom. And each day you practice, you move further from the world of excuses, closer to the life you truly want. You don't wait for the feeling. You become the person who acts regardless of how you feel. That is the first and most powerful step toward true discipline. Chapter 2. Direct your energy only toward tasks that truly matter. Your energy is limited. Every morning, you wake up with a reservoir that is finite, whether you realize it or not. The way you choose to spend it decides everything. You can't afford to waste it on meaningless distractions, mindless scrolling, or shallow worries about what others think. If you want to become truly disciplined, you must force yourself to spend your energy only on what truly matters. Discipline isn't about being busy all the time or filling your day with endless tasks. It's not about being a machine that never stops. Real discipline means you identify what's important and you pour yourself into those few things relentlessly. The world is noisy. Every app, every notification, every person asking for a piece of you is another leak in your energy tank. Unless you learn to say no to the trivial, you'll never have the strength left for the essential. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Pause and think about this. You are not running out of time. You are bleeding out your precious energy on things that don't move you forward. Every time you check your phone instead of working on your project, every time you say yes to a pointless meeting, you are betraying your own future. Cal Newport, a renowned computer science professor and author, is living proof of the power of fierce focus. Unlike most people, Newport refuses to let digital noise steal his attention. He completely eliminated social media from his life, choosing instead to spend his best hours on research and writing. Newport is famous for practicing what he calls deep work, sessions of undisturbed concentration where his phone is out of reach, email tabs are closed, and only the most important tasks are on his desk. He even sets strict boundaries with colleagues, declining meeting requests and ignoring non-essential emails. As a result, Newport produces groundbreaking work in both academia and publishing. His approach shows that saying no to digital distractions and social expectations isn't just about being disciplined. It's about creating the mental space to do work that truly matters and moves your life forward. Yet, in our daily lives, it's easy to confuse motion with progress. You might feel busy always responding to messages, organizing your workspace, and consuming endless information. But is any of this actually pushing you toward your real goals? If your answer is no, you are experiencing fake productivity. The only way out is to hold yourself accountable. Every time you start an activity, ask, does this move me closer to what I truly value? If not, stop. Protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. You have to be ready to disappoint people. You have to be willing to say no to invitations, demands, and even your own impulses to do the easy thing. This isn't selfishness. It's the discipline of someone who refuses to negotiate with their dreams. When you look back years from now, you won't regret missing out on trivial tasks or empty entertainment. You'll regret not protecting your energy for what really mattered. So, starting today, create a list of your top 3 priorities. Compare every action against this list. If it doesn't fit, cut it out. Practice this focus relentlessly and watch as your progress accelerates, not because you're doing more, but because you're finally doing what counts. And if you're thinking, but I struggle to say no, I always hesitate, then the next step is for you. You'll learn exactly how to break the cycle of hesitation and build a mind that moves before your doubts can speak. Get ready to discover the first true muscle of discipline: instant, undeniable action. Don't blink. You won't want to miss what's next. Chapter 3. Take small actions immediately to train instant response. Discipline is not the product of one heroic leap. It is never a miracle that happens overnight. Discipline is built, brick by brick, through a series of small actions you force yourself to take, especially when your mind whispers, "Let's wait just a minute longer." Most people think self-discipline appears after a grand, motivational epiphany. That's a lie comfort sells you. Real discipline grows in the moments you refuse to negotiate, refuse to give in, and refuse to stall. Every time you choose to act, right now, instead of postponing, you're not just checking off a task, you're shaping who you are. The alarm rings at 6 a.m. You know you need to get up. Instantly, the mind begins to bargain. 5 more minutes. It doesn't matter. The second you hesitate, you strengthen the habit of waiting. But the very act of standing up, no matter how small, no matter how tired you feel, sends a shockwave through your identity. It's a declaration. I am someone who acts, not someone who waits. That single, seemingly insignificant moment is where discipline lives and breathes. The same pattern repeats throughout your day. You notice the dirty dish in the sink. You remember the email you should have sent. The mind always offers an escape route, a soft couch of excuses. Later, after I finish this video, tomorrow. Each delay is a withdrawal from your self-respect. Each instant response is a deposit to your internal strength. Small actions are not trivial. They are your training ground. You don't build the muscle of instant response by waiting for big moments. You build it in the ordinary: getting up, sending the text, opening the book. Every time you act without delay, you wire your brain to respond, not to hesitate. Discipline is not about motivation. It's about refusing to negotiate with your weaker self. If you pause, if you allow your mind to bargain, regret follows. The more you delay, the more you teach yourself that waiting is normal, that your mind is in charge, not you. Over time, this eats away at your confidence. Doubt creeps in. Soon, you wonder why you can't trust yourself to do even simple things. But the opposite is also true. The more you act, the more you reinforce a new identity, a person who gets things done instantly. The path is simple. Whenever you think of something you should do, count down from 3, 2, 1, move, stand up, send the message, begin the workout. Discipline is a muscle, and every instant action is a rep. Everyone has the same 24 hours. The people you admire are not born different. They simply train themselves to act before excuses have a chance to speak. This is how you build unstoppable momentum. Discipline is a choice, made over and over until it becomes second nature. Act now, and you become the person you've always wanted to be. Chapter 4. Use pressure to act when comfort pulls you back. Comfort is seductive. It whispers to you every morning when you hit the snooze button. It convinces you that 5 more minutes in bed won't hurt, that tomorrow is a better day to start. At first, comfort feels harmless, warm, safe, and familiar. But over time, comfort becomes your cage. It dulls your edge. It shrinks your ambitions. It erodes your standards until you no longer recognize the person you once wanted to become. The truth is, comfort is the silent enemy of discipline. It wants you relaxed, compliant, and stagnant. And it's ruthless. Every time you give in, it takes a little more of your drive. Yet, comfort doesn't fight fair. It attacks when you are tired, bored, or alone. It makes you believe your excuses. It makes you forget why you started. This is why so many people wait for an external crisis, a looming deadline, a harsh consequence, or a disappointed friend before they move. But Stoicism teaches a different lesson. You cannot wait for life to pressure you. You must use pressure as a tool. You must learn to manufacture it on your own terms before reality forces your hand. Pressure is not the enemy. Pressure is the force that forges discipline. When you feel the heat, you sharpen your focus. When the stakes are real, you act, not just plan. You don't need to wait for your back to be against the wall. Choose pressure. Declare your goals to friends, mentors, or even strangers. Accountability multiplies pressure. Set deadlines that hurt a little, that make you sweat. Invest money in your commitments, so there's a real price to failure. Raise your standards. Refuse to accept mediocrity from yourself. Imagine, with absolute clarity, the regret and lost opportunity that comes from choosing comfort over action. Remind yourself, comfort takes, pressure gives. Comfort slowly steals your potential. Pressure pulls greatness out of you, even when your mind resists. The pressure you create is different from toxic stress. It is structured. It is a focus. It is the boundary between what you want now and what you want most. Over time, the more you train yourself to act under pressure, the less it feels like pain, and the more it feels like power. You begin to crave it not because it's pleasant, but because it is honest. Pressure exposes your limits and demands more from you. With each choice to act under pressure, your discipline grows, your confidence strengthens, and your comfort zone expands. Remember, when comfort tries to pull you back, apply pressure. Not someday now. Make a commitment you can't take back. Remove the escape routes. Invite responsibility, not as a burden, but as a catalyst. The difference between a disciplined life and a comfortable one is simple. One embraces pressure, the other runs from it. Now you understand the necessity of choosing pressure over comfort. But discipline doesn't start and end with action alone. It begins in the mind. Before you can control your behavior, you must learn to control your thoughts. We will learn through Chapter 5. Control your thoughts before they control your decisions. The greatest battles of discipline aren't fought in your schedule or your environment. They happen in your mind. Every act of discipline, every step toward your goals, begins as a single thought. If you want to change your actions, you must first take control of your thoughts. The truth is simple and unavoidable. Your mind shapes your decisions. What you permit to grow in your head will shape the life you lead. If you refuse to control your thoughts, your impulses, and your emotions will control you. You'll find yourself negotiating with laziness, justifying procrastination, or surrendering to short-term comfort. Negative, weak, or fearful thoughts don't just remain as thoughts. They metastasize into excuses, inaction, and ultimately failure. If you consistently allow self-doubt or fear to take root, you will keep your life stuck on pause. You hesitate. You replay worst-case scenarios. You talk yourself out of acting. In the end, your actions or your lack of action are only an extension of what you've been feeding your mind all along. Discipline is built on this foundation, controlling your inner dialogue. When you don't consciously direct your thoughts, you become a prisoner of old patterns. You start to believe that your doubts are facts, that your limitations are permanent, and you settle for less than you're capable of. Soon, you'll avoid discomfort at all costs, trading your potential for a little temporary ease. But nothing worth building is ever comfortable at first. The good news is that your mind can be trained just like your body. You wouldn't put garbage into your body and expect strength. Don't feed your mind toxic thoughts and expect discipline. You must become ruthless in filtering your thoughts. Not every idea deserves your attention. Reject the negative and replace it with something stronger, something that moves you forward. When you hear yourself say, "I can't," counter it immediately. "I can learn. I can improve." Start with awareness. Every day, check in with your mind. Are your thoughts pushing you forward or holding you back? Are you empowering yourself or making excuses? Replace passive, self-defeating narratives with decisive, action-focused self-talk. Control the content you consume. Distance yourself from people and environments that drag your thinking into the mud. If your mental diet is filled with fear and negativity, you will act with hesitation. Think of someone like David Goggins. who transformed from an unhealthy, self-doubting man into a Navy SEAL and ultra-endurance athlete, not because he was born disciplined, but because he took brutal control over his own mind. Every time the thought to quit appeared, he confronted it head-on, refused to negotiate, and replaced it with a command to act. Get up. Move. Do it now. Over the years, each small victory in his mind built into an unbreakable discipline. Challenge every irrational fear. Don't let lazy thoughts slide by unchallenged. When you want to put something off, force yourself to move right now, even if it's a small step. With each win, you build evidence that you're stronger than your hesitation. The power to direct your thoughts is the power to shape your actions, your days, and ultimately, your entire life. In the end, controlling your thoughts is the foundation of all discipline. Those who choose their thoughts deliberately, who replace weakness with strength, are the ones who gain control over their decisions and their destiny. The path to discipline always begins within. Take command of your mind, or your mind will take command of you. Chapter 6. Build mental toughness by choosing effort over relief. What is mental toughness? Is it the absence of pain, or the ability to smile through the struggle? No. Mental toughness is what you summon when everything inside you begs for relief, when every excuse whispers for you to quit, when your comfort zone invites you to stay a little longer. It is the invisible force that keeps you moving, not because it's easy, but precisely because it's hard. Every single day, you are presented with a choice: effort or relief, discipline or comfort. These choices might look insignificant: a few minutes more in bed, skipping one workout, putting off a difficult conversation. But each decision shapes you. If you always choose relief, you become an expert at avoiding discomfort, but you also become a stranger to your true potential. You never find out how far you can really go. The truth is, toughness isn't forged in comfort. It's built in the heat of resistance, in the moments when you desperately want to stop but refuse. Imagine a runner on the last mile, legs burning, lungs screaming. The finish line doesn't build character. The decision to keep going does. Every moment you choose effort over relief, you lay another brick in the foundation of who you are. These aren't just poetic ideas, they're daily realities. Angela Duckworth, the author of Grit, is living proof that mental toughness is built in the margins of real life. While raising 2 kids and teaching full-time at the University of Pennsylvania, Angela was determined to finish her book. She didn't have the luxury of long, quiet days to write. Instead, she carved out minutes between classes, wrote drafts in coffee shops during her daughter's after-school activities, and stayed up late to edit when everyone else was asleep. She often admitted that she rarely felt like writing, but she made it non-negotiable. Day after day, those small, imperfect sessions added up. "You don't need more time, you need more grit," she once said. Angela's story proves that discipline isn't about grand gestures. It's about showing up, especially when you're tired, busy, or uninspired. That's how you build mental toughness, one choice at a time. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." When you face resistance, it's not a signal to turn back. It's the signal to move forward. The challenge is not your enemy, it's your training ground. Marcus's words mean that every obstacle you confront is not a dead end, but a path to growth. If you always seek relief, you dodge the very experiences that teach you strength. But beware the subtle voice of comfort. Just relax for a moment, it says. You can do it later. The truth: small moments of relief become habits of weakness. Procrastination, avoidance, and delay are easy, but their cost is your confidence and self-respect. Relief is temporary. Regret lasts far longer. Building mental toughness doesn't require grand gestures. It starts with small wins, finishing what you start, pushing through when it's tempting to stop, and following through on promises you make to yourself. Each victory is evidence that you can trust yourself. The more you choose effort, the stronger your internal trust becomes. Over time, choosing effort becomes your default. You stop negotiating with laziness. You stop being surprised by resistance. Instead, you expect it and answer it with action. This is how you transform discipline from a battle into a habit, and mental toughness from a fantasy into your identity. Remember, mental toughness is not born, it is built, one tough decision at a time. If you're ready to stop making excuses and start building real strength, act now. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, and join a community that refuses to settle for easy. This is where your transformation begins, right now, right here. Chapter 7. Face your laziness directly and refuse to negotiate. Discipline is never a gift. It's not something you stumble upon in a moment of inspiration or when the mood feels right. It's something you build, something you force into existence, especially when your whole body and mind are screaming for comfort. The first and most brutal truth about discipline is this: you must face your laziness directly, and you must refuse to negotiate with it. Too many people sit back and wait for the feeling to change. They hope for a magical spark of motivation, for the urge to work hard to suddenly appear. But laziness is a shapeshifter. It whispers to you first thing in the morning, "Stay in bed a little longer, you deserve it." It lures you in the afternoon. "Check your phone, watch one more video, you can always work later." And the worst part? Laziness always has a convincing excuse ready. The moment you open a debate with it, you've already lost. That one negotiation, that moment of just 5 more minutes, is all it takes to reinforce the habit of hesitation. George's story is not extraordinary, but it's honest, and that's what matters. George was a mid-level manager who knew exactly what he should do: wake up early, exercise, tackle the hardest project first. He had read every productivity book and watched countless motivational videos. But every morning, as the alarm went off, he found himself bargaining with his laziness. "It's cold outside, maybe tomorrow. A late start isn't so bad, I'll work harder later." Soon, his mornings evaporated into endless scrolling and busy work that never moved him forward. He told himself these were small losses, harmless negotiations, but over time they piled up. The real price. Each excuse made it easier to make the next. Laziness, left unchallenged, never weakens, it only grows more persuasive. Epictetus warned, No man is free who is not master of himself. These words cut to the heart of the problem. Freedom, real freedom, is not about the absence of obstacles or the abundance of choices. It is about refusing to be enslaved by comfort, by impulse, by the easy way out. For George, and for anyone caught in the trap of negotiation with laziness, the answer is simple, but never easy. Act. Not when you feel like it. Not when the weather is perfect. Not after you've debated every pro and con. Now, every act of discipline is a small rebellion against the part of you that wants relief instead of results. When you act, especially when you don't want to, you strip laziness of its power. Each time you move without negotiating, you train your mind to respect discipline, not excuses. The first steps are small. Stand up when you want to lie down. Start the work before you check your phone. Say no to later and yes to now. Over time, these small victories stack up and your identity shifts. Don't fool yourself. You will never completely kill laziness. But you can starve it. You can make it weaker, day by day, by choosing discipline at the most inconvenient moments. The strongest people are not the ones who never feel lazy. They are the ones who never give laziness the final word. Stop waiting for the perfect mood. Stop bargaining with your weaknesses. Be ruthless. Face your laziness. Refuse to negotiate. That is the root of real, lasting discipline. Chapter 8. Replace negative self-talk with strict self-direction. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your self-talk. Inside your mind, there's a running commentary, sometimes quiet, sometimes relentless. Most people never notice how powerful it is, or how much it shapes their actions. But if you listen closely, you'll hear it. The constant voice whispering doubt, feeding excuses, giving you permission to back down, to rest before you've earned it, to negotiate with your own laziness. This voice doesn't just reflect your reality, it creates it. Personal discipline starts and ends with self-talk. Every time you say to yourself, "I can't, I'm too tired," or "maybe tomorrow," you're building a habit of surrender. That voice, when negative, is the architect of your inaction. But discipline isn't about motivation. It's not about feeling good. It's about giving yourself orders and obeying them. Start by recognizing the script you're running. Notice how your inner voice defaults to comfort. 1 more minute in bed. Check your phone just for a second. You deserve a break. These aren't acts of self-care. They are traps, set by the part of you that fears pressure, discomfort, and growth. Your job is to cut through that noise with strict self-direction. When you catch yourself making excuses, interrupt immediately. Replace every "I can't" with "get up now." Change "I don't feel like it" to "do it anyway." The more specific, the better. Write 1 page now. Turn off your phone and focus. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for clarity. Don't even wait to believe you can. Give yourself a direct order, then obey. At first, this feels unnatural. It can even feel harsh. You're not used to being your own commander. Your mind resists, tries to argue, tries to negotiate. But each time you override that resistance, You prove to yourself that your standards are non-negotiable. Over time, your inner critic loses power. Your strict self-direction becomes your default. This is not cruelty. This is self-respect in action. It's honest, precise, and unbreakable. True self-discipline is not about being harsh. It's about being clear, unwavering, and real with yourself, even when it hurts. Remember, the world around you shapes your inner voice. Spend time with people who push themselves, who value effort over excuses. Absorb their energy. Let their standards raise yours. And if you find yourself echoing the doubts and fears of others, rewrite the story. Discipline grows in environments of honesty and action. If you want to accelerate your transformation, make it a daily habit. List the excuses you use, write their strict alternatives, and speak them aloud. With repetition, you rewire your mind for action. Eventually, you stop arguing with yourself. You just move. You do what needs to be done. This is how the disciplined operate. They have built, day after day, an inner voice that commands action and refuses compromise. That voice can be yours if you demand it. So, are you ready to dismantle the hidden lies you tell yourself? Stay tuned, because in the next section, we're exposing the silent traps inside your daily self-talk and giving you the Stoic weapons to break free, once and for all. Chapter 9. Force repetition until your brain accepts new behavior. When it comes to building discipline, most people are searching for a secret hack, a shortcut that will make change feel easy, natural, almost effortless. But the truth is more brutal and more liberating. Human behavior is shaped by patterns, and patterns are forged by repetition. Whatever you repeat, whether it's strength or weakness, action or excuse, your mind will eventually accept and automate. Every time you hit snooze, every time you reach for your phone instead of your purpose, you teach your brain that comfort comes first. The only way out is to force yourself into new, deliberate repetitions again and again until the unfamiliar becomes familiar and resistance fades. This is the harsh, unglamorous reality. Discipline isn't born in a flash of inspiration, but in the dull, relentless act of showing up and doing the work even when you don't want to. If a man knows not which port he sails, no wind is favorable, wrote Seneca. His words are more than just ancient wisdom, they are a direct order. If you do not decide what to repeat, your environment and your impulses will choose for you, and they will always choose the path of least resistance. Repetition, when forced and intentional, is the steering wheel that takes you from where you are to who you want to be. Most people quit before repetition works its magic. They think new habits should feel comfortable from day one, but every meaningful habit begins as an act of force, not flow. The discomfort you feel in the beginning is proof that you're rewiring your brain. Studies from University College London have shown it takes, on average, 66 days for a new behavior to become automatic. 66 days of dragging yourself out of bed, resisting the urge to give in, pushing through boredom and frustration. But every day you repeat the action, no matter how small, you are stacking undeniable evidence that you are capable of change. Linking new habits to existing routines makes repetition easier. Maybe you tie your daily reading to your morning coffee. Maybe you do 5 push-ups every time you close your laptop. Celebrate every repeat, not just the final outcome. Neuroscience shows that rewarding even tiny progress helps your brain crave the new pattern, making each repetition easier than the last. Boredom is part of the process. The mind wants novelty, but change demands monotony. The successful are those who embrace repetition long after the initial excitement dies. And if you persist, there comes a moment when discipline no longer requires forcing your mind and body to move almost automatically. That's not magic. That's what you earn for refusing to negotiate with your excuses, for repeating until your brain surrenders and your new behavior becomes a part of you. There is no shortcut, no hack, no way around it. Repetition, forced, consistent, unromantic, is the fastest road to freedom and lasting self-mastery. Discipline isn't a feeling. It's a decision you make every single day, especially when comfort calls your name. Today, we exposed the real reasons why discipline is so hard in a world full of distractions and easy excuses. You've seen how taking action, not waiting for motivation, is the true Stoic path. We talked about breaking out of comfort, refusing to negotiate with laziness, and choosing the harder right over the easy wrong. Now, the choice is yours. Will you force yourself to be disciplined, or let comfort win again? Let me know in the comments. What's the #1 habit you need to take control of right now? How will you start? Remember, every disciplined action rewrites your story. Stay strong, stay relentless, and trust yourself. Wishing you clarity, power, and real change on your journey. See you in the next video.